And so now we will now welcome Dr. Ranvi V. Mangera, the untiring Executive Director of the Secretariat for Teacher Education Council, with his updates on the TEC. Dr. Mangera, please.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Celia. Good afternoon to Dr. Brenda Corpus also and my co-educators. Magandang hapon po ulit. So, okay. So, as we all know, we are a product of RA 7784, which is an act strengthening the teacher education in the Philippines by establishing the Center of Excellence and Teacher Education Council. Because based on the law, based on RA 7784, there are 9 roles and functions that the Teacher Education Council has to do. But for this afternoon sharing, I will only be talking about 2 roles and functions, and these are the first, which is to formulate policies and standards that shall strengthen and improve the system of teacher education in all existing public and private schools, and design collaboration programs and projects that will enhance pre-service teacher training, in-service training, pre-training, orientation, and teacher development. Since in this role and function, I will only be focusing on these 2 functions. So on July 8, 2020, the technical working group, okay, thank you. That's okay. I would like to start from the first quarterly meeting. Prior to the lockdowns, we were able to meet and had our first quarterly meeting in February. And in that particular meeting, we emphasized, because there was a directive to harmonize and to call on the function, to review the functions of the Commission on Higher Education and the Teacher Education Council roles and functions. We ended with the agreement that we just have to harmonize. According to Secretary Briones, and I quote, ayan po, what I also would like to add is that the very purpose of this is to harmonize. The Undersecretary Nepomuceno, who was also present during that meeting, mentioned that the first step is how to harmonize what are seemingly conflicting laws, because during the first quarterly meetings, there was discussion on the law, the CHED law, and the TEC law. And Dr. Lucido also mentioned that it is a matter of strengthening the connections and the relationship. That's the reason why most of the programs and projects that we concentrated on for this year is on harmonization effort of the Teacher Education Council. So presently, most of our members, they already expired their term last February, and we're working on for the continuance of their term for the year. Okay, so on July 8, next slide. On July 8, 2020, okay, that's it. July 8, 2020, the TWG, composed of Commission on Higher Education and DepEd, commenced and discussed the development of policies and guidelines on deployment of student teachers. So this joint memorandum order is now called New Normal Policies and Guidelines of the Deployment of Pre-Service Teachers for Field Study and Teaching Internship for academic school year 2020-2021. So the CHED and DepEd formulated this guidelines and policy so that we'll be able to be guided on how we can deploy our student teachers during pandemic. So the TWG is done with the public consultation, and I'm very sure that almost all of you participated in the public consultation, but it did not only involve the people from CHED, but it also involved even DepEd, because we say that this is a joint DepEd order. So the TWG, as I've said, is done with the public consultation, both DepEd and CHED, and is now on its respective offices for finalization. Hopefully, we'll be able to release the signed joint order next within the month. Hopefully, within the month. So the next slide is about another project. Tech has another collaboration project, and this we call it as a training program for newly hired teachers under RA 10612. This program is good for 3 years. This is actually spearheaded by the Philippine Normal University and the member of normal schools in the Philippines. So this training program started last year and still will end next year. So we are now on our 2nd year in this program for our DOST scholars. Next. Another project that TEC initiated is the one headed by Dr. Alan D. Guzman, a tech representative from Luzon. So this is a webinar series entitled Understanding Teacher Education Noticing Behavior During COVID-19 Pandemic, Mindfulness, Decision-Making, and Adaptation. I'm very sure because most of our discussants are members of PAFTE. Okay. So it started last August and will end next Saturday, October 17. This project was made possible with the help of the University of Santo Tomas and Research Center for Social Sciences and Education. So the beneficiaries of this Understanding 21st Century, the beneficiaries of this next project is the 900 Araling Panlipunan teachers in the country. This is also sponsored by the University of Santo Tomas Social Sciences and Education. Its theme is Understanding 21st Century Democracy, a call for teacher agency. Most of our speakers from that particular webinars are foreigners. Next slide. Next. Okay, that's it. Thank you. So another ongoing project of TEC is an online training on positive discipline in everyday teaching. This is intended for 5,000 teachers of the Philippines. This was made possible with the assistance of Save the Children Philippines, ENET Philippines, and Social Watch Philippines. This will end by November. This is an ongoing project of TEC. Next, we have last May 2020, TEC regular members met and discussed the upcoming activities for the last quarter. So these are the activities that we will employ during the last quarter. Number 1, next slide, please. A virtual COE and COD. This will serve as an avenue to discuss further issues confronting teacher education in the country. Just like the previous convention, we hope to solicit policy advice from the deans and chairs of colleges of education and come up with policy recommendations. The second one is, we also would like to discuss further the admission policy for incoming education students. This project is headed by Dr. Rita May Tagalog. He is also a member of PAFTE, an officer of PAFTE, and a tech representative from Visayas. We still have to iron out some issues on the admission policy for incoming education students. Number 3 is the conversation on coaching and mentoring for cooperating teachers. So Dr. Evelyn Chavez, the TEC representative from Mindanao, will conduct a conversation with DepEd focal person to discuss further coaching and mentoring for cooperating teachers, because we are now in pandemic. When we crafted coaching and mentoring handbook, we were thinking of face-to-face, but now that we are in the new normal, we have to do some adjustment on how this coaching and mentoring can be adjusted. And the last one is we will also be conducting an online training on math modeling on the context of the new normal. So this is headed by Dr. Mirna Libotake, the math representative. Okay, so let me end this update by sharing the statement of, next slide please, David Navarro, WHO Special Envoy on COVID-19. And I quote, the virus is here to stay, and it is not going away anytime soon. It will be necessary for humanity to be able to live with this virus, and indeed to be able to maintain economic and social progress despite the challenges caused by this virus. So maraming salamat po.
We'll move on then, and we would like to listen to our next speaker, a specialist in teacher education, an accomplished educator, researcher, and curriculum specialist, and the chair of the Technical Panel for Teacher Education, or the TPTE. Friends, let's welcome Dr. Purita P. Bilbao with her updates from CHED TPTE. Dr. Bilbao?
Everything is placed in order. I have to thank PAFTE for giving us the opportunity to meet all of you virtually during these challenging times, but regardless of the shock and aftershock that come our way, teacher educators are very resilient and agile. We always survive under difficult circumstances, like now. Our role is very crucial because without the pre-service teacher educators like you, there will be no virtual teachers in today's and in tomorrow's virtual classroom. And that would be more shocking. So today, I'm going to share with you some updates of the technical panel for teacher education and the TPT, and that we have made in the past months, although we were also affected by the pandemic. And under Dr. Manguera shared with us the involvement of Teacher Education Council, or the TEC, in the in-service teachers teaching in the basic education schools, I will be sharing with you the updates for the technical panel for teacher education of CHED, which is responsible for recommending policies, standards, and guidelines for teaching quality at the pre-service in the different teacher education institutions. So the first slide is entitled Updates from the CHED Technical Panel for Teacher Education, which include the technical committees and members from other agencies, to include the Teacher Education Council, represented by Dr. Manguera, the PRC, represented by Dr. Paz Lucido, and a member from the NCAA. So there are few points that I have to share with you. First is the implementation of the new teacher education curricula, which I labeled as the toddler. The second is the draft joint DepEd CHED memorandum, which was mentioned also by Dr. Manguera. Then we have the CMO 15 series of 29, which is the policy, standard, and guideline for graduate programs. And we have CMO 4 series of 2019, which These guidelines and the implementation of the flexible learning, and we have the ways forward for CHED. Next slide. The implementation of the 2017 curricula of teacher education for now undergoes bumps and falls of the toddler. For those who started on time, we first implemented the curricula in the school year 2018 to 2019, 2019 to 2020, and now we are on the third year yet of the curriculum. Only 3 years, like a toddler, we have not produced any graduates yet, and therefore we cannot tell outright what we have performed and how we perform. We have not produced any licensure exam results yet because they will be taking the examination in 2022. As a toddler, our implementation underwent bumps and falls due to, one, we have introduced new degree programs in teacher education. We have the BESED, we have the BCAE Ed, which is Culture and Arts Education. We have the BPED, or the Physical Education. For vocational education, we have the BTVE and the BTLE. Our BE Ed and our BS Ed are two traditional degree programs which we also continue to offer. Then we have reconfigured our experiential learning courses. Perhaps some of you have already started teaching the FS1 and FS2 and the student internship, but none of our new students in the new curriculum are in this area of student internship. So when we talk about the guideline that was crafted by the CHED and the DepEd, this will apply to the stragglers, those who are getting education units but are not included in the new curricula, and those in the FS1 may have migrated to the new curricula, and therefore they have to comply with all the rules and guidelines that are related to the pandemic. The third bump that we have is the syllabi. We need to review our syllabi because we are now under the pandemic. And earlier, according to CHED number 6 memorandum, it's not a memorandum, it's an issuance about curricular modification. It mentioned that we have to recalibrate our learning outcomes, and we need only to include the essentials, considering that we are under the pandemic and we are adjusting to the modes of delivery. We have to consider our electives, and we have to consider and reconsider our course requirements. And of course, we have to identify the delivery modes that are appropriate for the current time. And we have, therefore, to reconceptualize our FS1 and FS2, the two courses that we merged from the old curriculum. And of course, the internship, which will come next year. The CHED pronouncement was based on CHED COVID Advisory number 6 as of April 13, 2020, to include the identification of flexible delivery mode. Then we have the development of instructional material, which is also a bump, which should be appropriate for the time of the pandemic. On the other hand, as a toddler, in 2017 curricula, we provided a walker which is the inclusion of 2 courses in all degree programs that prepared our pre-service teachers for the unexpected COVID-19. These are Technology for Teaching and Learning 1 and Technology for Teaching and Learning 2. This provided our teacher education students a better preparation for the COVID-19 modes of delivery. As we grow up for another school year, our outlook should be positive. One, we look forward that our graduates in 2022 would be able to perform very well in the 2022 licensure exam, because this will be based on the 2017 curricula. Because we have upskilled and reskilled our students, there will be more job opportunities for them in order to confront the fragile world of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and a big ambiguity brought about by COVID. So I'm going to give a little something about the joint CHED DepEd memorandum. Next slide, please. The joint DepEd CHED memorandum is still a draft. The committee or the TWG that crafted the joint DepEd CHED curriculum is now refining after the public consultation which many of you attended. This was initiated by Commissioner Darilag, our speaker in day 1, with 4 of the TPTE members participating: Dr. Bustos, Dr. Oracion, Dr. Lucido, and Dr. Gabao. While all the other TP members who were not actively participating in this TWG participated by providing their thoughts and opinion. After its public consultation and after its refinement, then eventually there will be a joint DO-CMO issuance, and we will have to wait for that. And let it be clear that this CHED DepEd memorandum or DO, department order, will only be applicable for this school year. Next slide, please. For more inquiries about the teacher education curriculum, may I invite you to refer to Dr. Cherry Melanie Ancheta Diego, the Director 4 of OPSD, and to the members of the technical panel whose names you find on the screen. Then we can move to CMO 15, which is the standards guidelines for graduate program. You will note that it has been long that there was no CMO that would upgrade our graduate programs. Now we are leveling up to the CMO. As approved in 2019, its HEI is mandated to migrate to the new CMO within the 3 years transitory period. Our graduate programs will be cutting edge, integrative, interrogative teaching and learning contents and methods, higher competencies in knowledge production, research, knowledge sharing and exchange, teaching, and knowledge application and utilization. You will note that CMO is generic. It applies to all graduate programs. Eventually, the technical panel for teacher education will craft its own guideline based on CMO 15. And among the objectives of the teacher education graduate program are leadership and innovation, creative and effective learning and teaching, articulation of Filipino culture and arts, and nationalism. So what are the master's program? You will note that not all of this will be offered by teacher education graduate program. Our Master of Science may not be within our purview, but we can go to a Master of Arts degree or the Professional Master's Degree program, some of which I have given an example. Your MS Science Biology, your MA English, or your MA Literature, or your Professional Master's, which is the Master's, for example, in School Management or Master's in Teaching. For the doctorate program, we have the Doctor of Philosophy, which is a PhD, heavy on research. There are two tracks, the PhD research track and the PhD academic track, or the professional doctoral degree. Then many of the questions will be raised. Which one is higher? Which one is lower? If you get a doctoral degree, they are all equal. Only the thrust and the track that you are going to do is different. Therefore, institutions that are trying to offer the different degree programs should see to it that if you're offering a PhD research track, then most of their work, coursework will be research. In fact, 75% is research work. If you are going to offer PhD in academic track, the intention of that graduate is to teach in college, and therefore he would be heavy in content and he must have a good research. For the professional doctoral degree, this is about the expertise of the teacher. So you can have, for example, in other fields, you can have a doctor of public administration, you can have a doctor of education, you can have a doctor of teaching. So by research, you have the three tracks. By academic track, you can have the two as examples. And by professional doctorate, you can have three. These are only examples. So CMO number 4, are we there now? Series of 2020 give us the guideline for the implementation of flexible learning. And I think these are all very familiar to all of us because CHED has given us a good orientation webinar and all of this. So to just give a gist of that, we have 3 types. We have offline, we have blended, we have online, all of which are called flexible. Then we have, in the use of technology, we have either low-level technology, as we are having problems with internet, so we can use self-instructional module. We have medium-level intermittent. We can mix offline and online. And we have high-level fast online or blended learning technology. So from there, where do we go? According to the plans of CHED TPTE TC, this is how we go forward. We will be sponsoring a series of webinars sponsored by CHED OPSD and the technical panel with the technical committee and all degree programs and teaching of field studies and student internship. So you watch out for announcement later on. Then we need to collaborate with and among agencies or organizations. The Philippine Association for Teachers and Educators, the PAFTE, the state universities and colleges, the SUCTEA, SIMEO Secretariat or C-Teacher Network, the Philippine Business for Education or PBED, the Teacher Education COEs and CODs, and other organizations, local or foreign. This is what we call our mutuality. Then we have to support a bill in Congress that is being passed. This is all about alternative learning system bill for lifelong learning. Why we have to support this? Because we have already a curriculum in teacher education for ALS. And if this becomes a bill, then there can be a very good way to move forward, because this is all about lifelong learning. So it's a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world. But the future is not tomorrow. The future has arrived. We have to make sure that we have a place, that all of us, our students, will have a place in it. So lastly, the pandemic has created the largest disruption of our education system. There is no going back to the pre-COVID days. The world we knew before is gone. Let us remain calm, resilient, agile, and compassionate. We need to shift our frames of mind. The COVID will long stay with us. If we can neither hammer it, we have to dance with it. We can live with it as part of our future. And the future is now. Thank you very much. And God bless us all.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Bilbao. That's very comprehensive update from CHED CPTE for warning us of programs both in the baccalaureate and in the graduate levels. Thank you very much. Again, to reiterate what I have said, let's have Dr. Benosa, some updates from Simeo Inotech. And Dr. Benosa is the capacity builder and consultant manager of Simeo Inotech. Dr. Benosa.
Good afternoon once again. I'm back. And once again, I would like to take this opportunity to greet and congratulate the PAFTE leadership, particularly Dr. Brenda Corpus and the organizers of this forum, as well and the previous presenters as well. It's an honor to be able to share the virtual podium with such distinguished personages in education. The organization I represent, the Southeast Asian Ministers of Education Organization, Regional Center for Educational Innovation and Technology, quite a mouthful, so please call us Inotech for short, is celebrating its Golden Jubilee this year. We have been in existence for the past 50 years, moving from several Southeast Asian capitals and settling in our permanent site at the UP Diliman campus since 1976. Inotech is dedicated to developing innovative solutions to address educational development concerns in Southeast Asia through our service areas of training, research and development, knowledge management, and partnerships. Inotech is one of 26 regional centers of CIMEO, a chartered intergovernmental organization comprising the 11 Southeast Asian countries, which includes the ASEAN 10 and the Timor-Leste.
Thank you.
Before moving on to the updates on the more recent innovations and services we have introduced, let me share by way of context setting the CIMEO 7 priorities adopted by the Council of Ministers in 2014. In a one-day intensive discussion among ministers of education, which Inotech convened and hosted by the Ministry of Education and Sports of Lao PDR, they yielded the Vientiane Statement, which identified 7 priority areas for CIMEO. One of the 7 priorities is, as shown on the screen, revitalizing teacher education, making teacher again a profession of first choice. Following the recommendations of the CIMEO Council of Ministers, education is to be given due recognition as a worthy tertiary program, making teaching again a profession of first choice. And they went on to describe the path through the comprehensive, strategic, and practice-based reform of the teacher management and development systems. Of relevance to PAFTE, this could be achieved through more professional preparation at pre-service, adequate induction and in-service processes, and systematic performance assessment, review, and reward and accountability mechanisms. The ministers noted that individual country policies should consciously emphasize the requirement of having the best candidates for teacher training, following an explicit and shared competency framework and a set of standards applicable across the region. The same points surfaced in the course of our discussions during the World Teachers' Day celebration on the 2nd of October, where Inotech featured the recently concluded study on motivation among Filipino teachers. In response to the call of the CMEO Council ministers, Inotech developed, with the cooperation of various stakeholders, the Southeast Asian Teacher Competency Framework, which is shown on the screen. Initially, it is conceived to guide development of Inotech training and human resource development programs. But this has evolved to be our principal contribution to teacher competency enhancement intervention for Southeast Asia. Aligned with the current competency frameworks adopted by the other countries in the region, this was particularly appreciated in the context of the developing countries, where they are in the process of developing their own competency frameworks. This has been translated into all Southeast Asian languages and has been formally adopted by the CMEO Council of Ministers. Building on the Southeast Asian Teacher Competency Framework, the competency strand on becoming a better teacher every day was magnified, and a full course was developed for Southeast Asian teachers. This strand is at the heart of the framework, focusing on the ability of the teachers to have a greater understanding about themselves and others, practice human goodness in their lives and at work, and to be able to master their teaching practice. Building on this initiative, the Center, under its forthcoming 10th Five-Year Development Plan, which will be implemented next year, will develop a complementary course focused on teaching with kindness and compassion. We recognize the need to teach children the power of love, kindness, and compassion. Such lessons need to be given focus in academic discussions in order to promote and inspire significant change. And this starts with enabling the teachers the necessary competencies and practices on how to teach and model kindness and compassion in their classrooms. Becoming a better teacher every day also denotes continuous improvement on the part of the teacher, and that the most effective teacher is one who is always ready and willing to learn, building on or modifying concepts and practices to suit the needs and the operational context in which he operates. Towards this end, we also seek to facilitate and sustain establishment of professional networks among teachers, not only within the Philippines, but throughout the region and perhaps in other developing countries. Under our knowledge management and networking program, we actively seek partnerships with institutions, organized bodies, and even individual teachers in order to provide a platform for continuous knowledge sharing, exchange of good practices, and documentation of innovative practices among teacher professional organizations. In response to the needs that arose due to the pandemic, several online programs for teachers and principals were reoffered at no cost to the enrollee, but with corresponding CPD credits. And these are meant to develop competencies in leadership under different contexts. Some of you have been key drivers I could recall certainly Dr. Purita Bilbao, and partners in the development and implementation of these programs. Health Excels is one of the Excel suite of courses, and it was developed in partnership with the GIZ, the German Development Cooperation Agency, to level up the leadership skills of school principals the leadership skills of school principals to be the health promoters in school. A healthy child, both in the physical and emotional sense, would achieve better, learning goals better, and would be less likely to be absent or drop out due to health concerns. In the same vein, Lead Excels is designed to develop competencies of school leaders and teachers to plan and work towards a resilient school community. Among the various emergencies quite common to us, natural, man-made, and now health-related, along with other disruptions in school operations, the principal and teachers are tasked with ensuring resiliency and sustained learning services. Peace Excels is meant for the school leaders to be champions in promoting nonviolence, embracing diversity, and making the schools a nurturing and learning environment for the learners and the communities it serves. With the development of the MOOC on Teach On, keeping the passion alive and becoming a better teacher every day, both courses magnify the essential skills that every teacher must possess in order to become an effective teacher for the region. Teach On, or Keeping the Passion Alive, aims to inspire, rekindle, and sustain the teacher's passion for teaching. We can assume that passionate teachers will be most prepared to inspire, guide, and facilitate the social and emotional skills of their learners. Through the course, the teacher learners go through the journey of understanding passion, analyzing their own enablers, and capitalizing on their strengths to sustain their passions. These are the very same elements, self-awareness, self-management, managing relationships, that would positively contribute to social and emotional learning. Another innovation is the mobile technology for teachers, a teacher resource kit using mobile technology for 21st century learning in Southeast Asia. Among the resources compiled there is the use of current online learning platforms, the use of social media, and other web-enabled platforms. E-citizenship for teachers comprises of a series of e-books using the MT40 platform to enhance the teacher's capacity to help students protect themselves from the adverse effects of ICT and empower them to be responsible digital citizens. This includes helping teachers nurture the emotional intelligence of students as a strategy to address issues of cyber pollution and wellness. These resources are accessible through the Inotech website. As earlier mentioned, Inotech just completed a study on the motivation of Filipino teachers. Essentially, it sought to gain insights on what makes Filipino teachers go into teaching the teaching profession and what factors make them stay as teachers. Through the interviews, the study enabled us to understand how teachers adopt strategies to address the learners' diverse contexts and demographic characteristics, including the mental health awareness and management, both for their students and for themselves, as these relate to classroom management, workload management, digital literacy tools and resources, life skills such as financial literacy and financial management, and social and emotional skills. For TEIs, or pre-service training institutions, the study also surfaced implications towards strengthening the field study or teacher induction programs for adequate teacher preparation. The research findings surfaced researchers or the teachers' perceptions that they felt inadequately prepared to teach in multi-grade classroom settings. The TEIs could consider requiring field study or teacher induction programs to cover multi-grade and not just the monograde classroom environment. Teacher induction programs should also continue to emphasize that with the important tasks of future teachers face in ensuring delivery of quality learning outcomes. The teachers need to be prepared to face challenges throughout the practice of their profession. Over the next few months, we hope to share further data and information on these rich insights that can be gleaned from the research. We welcome partnerships with various groups and institutions in order to deepen our understanding and further refine policy and practice in the education sector. In closing, let me affirm Inotech's readiness to reach out and work hand in hand with institutions such as PAFTE and the organizations and institutions represented here, as well as individual educators who share our goals and aspirations. As we begin a new program cycle which ushers in the next 50 years of Inotech operations, many of our initiatives are focused on key issues for education development and in bringing together the different parties in Southeast Asia and beyond. In working together to ensure a better future for every learner in Southeast Asia, we focus more on facilitating exchange, sharing knowledge, and enriching each education stakeholder through our combined efforts. In spite, or perhaps driven by, the challenges and disruptions, together we can do much in moving Southeast Asia's knowledge society forward. At this point, let me thank you and thank the organizers once again for your kind attention. Kindly stay safe and healthy because our learners would need you. Thank you.
Thank you also, Dr. Benosa. I think we have no choice but also to pay attention because you were telling us many things that are so interesting for us as teachers. Your innovations and everything, the program, and what you said about improving the teacher every day. That's a very good point. And the passionate teacher being improved every day. Thank you very much, Dr. Benosa. That's very inspiring.
Thank you very much, and you have been quite patient and generous in giving me this forum.
Yes, thank you. And 4 are out, 1 is left. And now we are ready to listen to updates from PRC PBT. We have with us now Dr. Rosita L. Navarro, an outstanding professional teacher and educator, and at present, the chair of the PRC Board for Professional Teachers. Ladies and gentlemen, my friends, let's all welcome the professional par excellence with her updates on the PRC PBT, the Honorable Dr. Rosita L. Navarro. Dr. Navarro, please.
Okay, thank you. Fellow professional teachers and teacher educators, I'm happy to be with you in spite of the pandemic. Well, I'm sure you will agree with me when I say that most learning is not the result of instruction. It is rather the result of unhampered participation in a meaningful setting. This quote from Ivan Illich, intentionally or unintentionally, refers to one of the basic advocacies of social emotional learning, which is self-management. A social setting becomes meaningful if it appeals to the reservoir of emotions that the learners have developed to prepare for an unhampered participation in a particular social setting. Ivan Illich published in 1971, that's 50 years ago, the book Deschooling Society, in which he treated the treatise advocating experiential learning more than formal learning as planned and structured in the school. Illich believed that True learning takes place in one's personal experience while interacting with the physical and social environment. Illich argued that the ideal educational system should pursue three objectives. First, to provide to all learners access to resources of knowledge at any time in their lives. Second, to facilitate sharing of knowledge with others for collaboration. And by doing so, the third objective will be realized. That is, to discover new opportunities and more workable innovations. Described as the most visionary political and social thinkers of the 20th century, Ivan Illich invented the term deschooling, which advocated the shift from traditional structured schooling to a less restrictive method of acquiring knowledge motivated by one's own volition and emotional needs. In pursuit of his argument, Illich chided the educators of his time for not utilizing technology to create a learning network available anytime as needed by learners and as platform for communication to share knowledges among fellow learners. In this age of pandemic, when the physical school setting has been rendered ineffective and where a culture of isolationism is beginning to evolve, one is likely to think that Illich's deschooling theory has come of age. Illich's contemporaries argued that some of the best and long-lasting creations came from unschooled geniuses like William Shakespeare, Thomas Edison, Mark Twain, Albert Einstein, and our very own great plebeian Andres Bonifacio. 50 years after the publication of Ivan Illich's The Schooling Society, his advocacies are suddenly realized. Students out of school, but learning. Learning resources instantly available via internet, the airways, and the old reliable printed modules. Exchange of learnings takes place among family members and even among strangers. When the COVID-19 nightmare is over, one fact will remain, that the human person has truly been endowed with a marvelous capacity to adjust and to innovate. We in the Professional Regulation Commission also responded swiftly, notably by reducing the required 45 continuing professional development units to only 15 during the pandemic season. Also by extending the validity of the professional ID card until December 31, 2021. And the unprecedented amendment of the Continuing Professional Development Law, or the Republic Act 10912, by making it a powerful avenue leading to career progression and specialization program, and the end goal of credit accumulation transfer system for higher qualifications. And now, first allow me to start with the contextual background of the career progression and specialization program and the credit accumulation transfer system by drawing the contextual background. there are 5 milestones in the contextual background. The first milestone is the ASEAN Qualifications Reference Framework, or the AQRF, which is a common reference framework that enables comparisons of education qualifications across participating ASEAN member states. Its objectives include support and recognition of qualifications of service providers, including various professionals. And as we all know, the ASEAN nations, the ASEAN organization is composed of 10 ASEAN countries, namely Brunei Darussalam, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, the Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. The illustration shows the ASEAN referencing structure. At the center is the ASEAN referencing structure, composed of 8 levels, corresponding to the 8 levels of education in the world. Now, as a referencing structure, let me give you an example of country A to your left. This country has 9 levels of education, but because this country referenced with the ASEAN structure, you see the arrows, and they are now aligned. Now look at the country B to your right. This country has only 6 levels, and yet because of the ASEAN referencing structure, this country is able to align with worldwide standards. The AQRF structure is composed of 8 levels based upon a hierarchy of complexity of learning outcomes, with each level grouped into 3 domains. The 3 domains are first domain, knowledge and skills. Second domain is application. And third domain is responsibility and accountability, but more popularly known as degree of independence. Each level contains the appropriate descriptions under the 3 domains. For every level, there are 3 domains to contend with. The AQRF concept proposal draft was presented and approved for development in May 2010 in Manila at the first ASEAN Australia New Zealand Finance and Trade Agreement Council meetings. In 10 years' time, 8 professions have been approved for recognition in the ASEAN member states through the Mutual Recognition Agreement, or MRA. And these are engineering, nursing, surveying, architecture, dentistry, medicine, accountancy, and tourism. The other professions in PRC are trying their best also to come up to this level of international recognition. Now, the second milestone is the Philippine Qualifications Framework, or the PQF, which was signed as Executive Order number 83 in October 2012 by then President Benigno Aquino III, designed to harmonize basic education, technical and vocational education, and higher education into a nationwide unified framework of skills and competencies. Subsequently signed, PQF was subsequently signed into law only in 2018, authored by Senator Joel Villanueva as Republic Act 10968, institutionalizing the Philippine Qualifications Framework. Now, this is the diagram showing the Philippine Qualifications Framework. There are 8 levels also in our QF. Our PQF is aligned to the ASEAN Qualifications Framework because we also have 8 levels. Now, the first and the second levels, it was envisioned the graduates of grade 10 will qualify for level 1, and graduates of grade 12 will qualify for level 2. Then those who finish trade and vocational courses and earn the NC3, NC4, and diploma certificate will be qualified for levels 3, 4, and 5. And for level 6, all baccalaureate programs, all graduates of baccalaureate programs will be classified here. And master's degrees for level 7 and doctoral and even postdoctoral programs for level 8. It is to the credit of the committee from the Philippines that our qualifications framework is exactly aligned to the ASEAN qualifications reference framework. The third milestone is the continuing professional development, which is the process of tracking and documenting the skills, knowledge, and experience that professionals gain both formally and informally as they practice beyond their initial professional training. It is a record of what the professional experience learned and then they apply. This became the CPD law in 2016 as Republic Act 10912. Now, the fourth milestone is the Career Progression and Specialization Program Credit Accumulation and Transfer System, or the acronym CPSP CATS. The first part, Career Progression and Specialization, is the tool and mechanism to address professionals' welfare, employment, and compensation issues, job skill mismatch, portability, and comparability of qualifications wherever the Filipino professionals may decide to work. The second part of this milestone is the Credit Accumulation and Transfer System. It is the process in which quality-assured continuing professional development credit units, so hold on to your credit units, may be transferred or awarded to higher level of qualifications pursuant to the Philippine Qualifications Framework Law. The CPSP CATS requires close partnership and coordination among the important stakeholders, namely the learner or the professional, the provider, who may be the employer, and the awarding body, and which is envisioned to be the Professional Regulation Commission. The fifth and the last milestone, and actually is the final goal of this process is the international agreements, the so-called mutual recognition agreements. These are formal understandings and commitments between two countries, bilateral, or more countries, multilateral, that enable member states to address vital environmental transboundary or global issues and recognition of trade in services, including professional services. And now to put together the 5 milestones, we now have the contextual framework. So we start, the driving force is the AQRF. And the AQRF drove us to craft the PQF. And from the PQF, the continuing professional development. And from the continuing professional development, there is now a possibility to progress in one's career through what we call credit accumulation transfer system, not necessarily through formal education. And what is the end goal? For international agreements. Now, these 5 milestones and subsystems are quality assured, and therefore this framework is quality assured through the presence of the broken feedback arrow. Without the feedback arrow, there is no opportunity for continuous improvement, which is necessary in any quality assurance mechanism. And now I'd like to share with you our journey, the journey we had to take towards a CPSP CATS program for the professional teachers. This is a first in the century history of our profession. This is the first time that we are given the opportunity to specialize in a particular discipline or multi-discipline. Now, we started with a series of initial consultations. The very first was with PAFTE at its 48th annual convention held on October 17 to 19, 2019 in Davao City. Then, we took the inputs from our fellow PAFTE members and we crafted the first career progression and specialization program. Through the assistance of the Department of Education in April 2020, through the active participation of Director John Arnold Siena of the National Educators Academy of the Philippines, or the NEA, the first government agency accredited by PRC as CPD provider. From 2017, PRC has been awarding CPD units to public school teachers free of charge because DepEd supported the annual training programs of NEA. Then, in May 2020, we submitted the draft to the PRC International Affairs Office Secretariat. Then the next step was the integration of the DepEd Career Progression Concept Plan provided by the Department of Education through the NEA. They also have a career progression concept, and we integrated it in the career progression program of PRC. Then the refinement. The next step is the refinement of the proposed CPSP CATS program by the CPSP CATS Program Management Committee. And then the semi-final consultative conference on August 26 2020 of the PRC officials, the Board for Professional Teachers, with the Undersecretary of DepEd, Undersecretary Jesus Mateo. Now, this semi-final draft was submitted to PRC for approval last month, and we are awaiting the approval of PRC. Now, here is the proposed Career Progression and Specialization Program. The program enables the professional to move towards a more advanced stage in job title, position, or practice as provided for by the Professional Regulatory Law for Professional Teachers, the Republic Act 7836, or the Philippine Teachers Professionalization Act of 1994. To operationalize this process, the program features 6 pathways which provide access ramps to qualifications and assist the professional teachers in moving among the different tracks and between the tracks and labor opportunities in compliance with DepEd Order number 42, series of 2017, which prescribes the stages in the Philippine Professional Standards for Teachers, or the PPST. So the Career Progression and Specialization Program for Professional Teachers adopted the PPST standards of DepEd. Okay, now this is where we all start. PQF level 6. We enrolled in the College of Education, and we finished the course BE-Ed or BS-Ed and passed the board licensure examination for teachers. From there are pathways that we can select from. The academic. Now, the academic will bifurcate later in level 7 between teaching, academic, and managerial or leadership. I'll show the design later. Then another is the teacher education track, which many of us chose. Then the teacher writer track, which some pursued because they have the talent and the aptitude for writing instructional materials and later on books. And probably, I know that some publishers started as teachers. Then the teacher entrepreneur track, those who left teaching to open nursery or kindergarten schools, which developed into elementary and high school and even college and the university. I'll explain later. And another track, which is the teacher researcher track. These are for teachers whose aptitude is for research and journal writing and peer evaluation and so on. So that is level 6. So when we start working, whether in DepEd, by the way, 90% of professional teachers are employed with DepEd, and only that 10% or even less now, because of the decrease in enrollment, are employed in private basic education institutions, which I know also adopted the ranking system of DepEd. Now, for us who start as classroom teachers, we are given the career stage 1 beginning teacher. And what is the description of the beginning teacher? He has gained the qualifications recognized for entry into the teaching profession and need support from more experienced colleagues. Then we graduate after 3 years to career stage number 2, and we become proficient teacher. That is the first half of the PQF level 7. And what is the characteristic of the career stage 2 or proficient teacher? Independently applies teaching principles and strategy skills vital to the teaching and learning process. If you look below, there is a bifurcation. After the beginning teacher stage, there is a bifurcation into teacher 5 to 7 pursuing the academic track and not leaving the classroom, and the assistant school or principal, or what we call the administrative track. So that makes the tracks 6. Then teacher 5 to 7 for the other 4 tracks: teacher education, teacher educator, researcher, teacherpreneur, and writer. Now we move on, we progress to the second half of the PQF level 7. And we will probably be promoted to career stage 3. And the career stage 3 award is highly proficient teacher. The one who consistently displays a high level of performance in the teaching practice. He or she mentors colleagues and works collegially with other staff. So in the academic track, they may have earned already master's degree and promoted to master teacher 1 and 2. Now in the managerial or administrative track, they have also earned a master's degree and has earned what is now required as the school head certification. And they may be awarded the assistant principal 1 to 3 rank. Then how about the teacher, those who pursue the teacher education pathway? They have earned a master's degree, and so they have been appointed as instructors, probably assistant professors in colleges of education, like most of you. Then those who had the opportunity to write syllabi, instructional materials in their early stages as teacher will probably forward into more serious writing, which is textbook writing. And those who are the teacherpreneurs may have expanded their kindergarten or nursery schools into elementary. That is how Dr. Preciosa Soliven started the OB Montessori, and look at it now. And the third is the teacher researcher or the peer reviewer pathway. I know that many teachers also have the aptitude towards research writing, and publishing in journals, and even reviewing. Now, the highest, the summum bonum of the career of teachers is the career stage 4, the distinguished teacher rank. And what is the characteristic of the distinguished teacher? He or she demonstrates the highest standards for teaching grounded in global best practice and leads colleagues in promoting quality teaching and learning. So in the academic track, he or she may have earned a master teacher 3 to 5. And if all other requirements have been fulfilled, DepEd or the private basic education institution may award to this master teacher the distinction of the award of distinguished teacher. Now, the same thing is true with those who pursue the teacher education track. They may be they may have attained the professorial rank already, or they may have been promoted to deanship of teacher education institutions. But the promotions are given by the teacher education institution itself. Now, what about for the book writer or editor, the operator or owner of schools, tutorial services, online learning platforms, homeschool, etc., etc., and journal editors and indexers who do not have the time to pursue formal education, who cannot leave their engagements in their line of work to earn formal training. And so there is where the career progression and specialization program and the CAT system of PRC will come in. PRC, the 48 boards have been mandated by PRC to prepare modules which will be assigned units to qualify these book writers, teacherpreneurs, and journal editors to the title of distinguished teacher. Now, what is the way forward? The way forward for us is with the Philippine Association for Teachers and Educators. You will be requested, motivated to revive, reactivate extant or inactive disciplinary specialty or specialization societies or organizations for professional teachers. Unlike in the past, where only the doctors and the dentists are specialized in orthodontics or in surgery, etc., the professional teachers will be also specialized in various disciplines. I remember that I used to be a member of the Philippine Society for the Curriculum Society of the Philippines. There was a Curriculum Society of the Philippines where the chairman was Narciso Albarracin, the vice chairman was Liceria Soriano, the secretary was Concesa Baduel, and the treasurer was Josefina Navarro. And this group published the curriculum journal for a few years. But when the four retired, then the curriculum journal disappeared. Now, the Philippine Society for Educational Research and Evaluation is still very active. This was founded by Mona Balisno and very much alive under Dr. Rosita Santos, and now under one of the deans, I think one of the vice presidents in CEU. Then if you remember Sister Coronel, Mathematics Society of the Philippines, then Brother Andrew, and Bonnie Sibayan, the Linguistic Society of the Philippines, the English Teachers Association of the Philippines, where Felicidad Espina and Claire Manalo figured very actively. The Reading Association of the Philippines with the Dr. Well, I know that Mila Borabo is very active in this organization, and I think this is a very important organization for elementary school teachers. The Children's Literature Association of the Philippines, or the CLAPI. CLAPI applied, and it is now a provider, and I hope that it will continue to be active in the specialization field. The Social Science Society of the Philippines, and others. And Perhaps PAFTE can also motivate other organizations to develop emerging multidisciplinary specialization. I know, for instance, that there is a germ of an early childhood studies, inclusive education, SPED in various special cases, alternative learning system, studies of adult learners. So these are now the challenges for the Philippine Association for Teachers and Educators. We hope that in the near future, many of you, PAFTE members, will be specialists in certain fields. In conclusion, allow me to end this presentation with a quotation from Henry Ford. He said, "Anyone who stops learning is old, whether 20 or 80. But anyone who continues learning stays young." My dear fellow teachers and teacher educators, let us all stay young. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. That was really substantial, very substantial, and very comprehensive. And also thank you for the challenge left for PAFTE to respond. At this time, we will have our open forum. And may I request our resource speakers to turn on their cameras and their microphone when they have to speak to answer the questions of our participants. Dr. Maria Rita Lucas is ready with the questions. And I think it's only Dr. our Executive Director Rita no. From TIAP, who is not around for the open forum. But I hope she's still here. Mrs. Peren.
Yung questions nyo, mamaya nyo lang sasagutin. Papadala na namin sa inyo.
Yes. There are questions here for Executive Director Ferrer, but we have indicated that we will be sending the questions to her. And well, for Teacher Education Council and also CMEO Inutech, there is expression of appreciation for the many initiatives, and there is a sense that there are more teacher training and teacher development initiatives now that we are online. So we are bombarded by excellent webinars from both CMEO and Teacher Education Council. For the teacher TPTE, Dr. Bilbao, there is a question here about the effectivity of CMO 15 on the graduate education. If the students are graduating in 2021, they would just like a confirmation whether they will be affected by the new CMO. Dr. Bilbao?
I'm sorry, Dr. Lucas, but Dr. Bilbao can hear you properly, and also Dr. Esparro has to come.
Okay.
They said that they are willing to respond with any questions. So they will just go send it to Dr. Navarro, Dr. Bilbao, and they will reply back accordingly.
Okay. So Mr. Juan Primitivo Petrola from CHED Region 1 was kind enough to affirm that if they are graduating in a year's time, they are not affected by the new PSG on graduate education. Thank you from CHED Region 1 for that confirmation. He answered also in the chat, interacted with the one who also asked the question. For Dr. Navarro in PRC, there is a question here about what will happen to those who were renewing their license, who needed to renew, but because of the lockdown, of the lockdown in March, and then after applying online and given appointment, were not able to travel to the PRC branch for the appointment. So they are just asking what will happen to their pending application.
I'm sorry to alarm Dr. Rivera's Jafar, but we will send her the questions.
I assume they cannot also, Dr. Navarro may not be able to answer. Although from her sharing, she mentioned that there is an extension of the validity of the license up to December 31, 2021 from her talk that was given earlier. Any other questions? There's a question here about how many units must be gained for non-education course. Are there new policies about those who will get the CPE for non-education degree? I think unless the law is amended, it remains to be 18. Although our CMO already has more units in FS, the addition of FS. So some universities are already providing 30 units of CPE, yet the current law still stands at 18 units. So far, that is what is mandated and what is implemented. There's a question here. I think many what do you call that? The raters in the PRC, in CPD can answer this. Dr. Borabo, I had attended a 5-day webinar with a total of 22 hours in July 2020 conducted by the Association of Filipino Teachers in America, AFTA. Can this be used for CPD units? I think that's directed. Is Dr. Borabo around?
I'm here.
Yes, ma'am.
If AFTA is a CPD provider, then by all means, whatever is given to them based on the instructional design, then that would be given. But if they are not provider, then they can. That is only a self-directed activity.
So
they have to check if AFTA is a CPD provider.
They're based in America. They're not.
Yeah, but even though they are based in America, if they have applied for CPD providership, then by all means, even it's 22 days, if they have not applied as a CPD provider, then it can only be a self-directed. That's why I said you need to check if they are in the list of CPD providers.
I think, yeah, most likely it's self-directed, di po ba?
Dr. Rita.
Yes,
May I
po.
come in?
Yes po.
As Brenda. Yes. Any seminar attended by professional teachers, as said by Dr. Mila, can be applied for under self-directed activity. So it is up to the CPD Council for Professional Teachers to evaluate and to determine how many credit units will be given to such seminars or courses. So, correct. It's under self-directed activity.
Thank you, Dr. Brenda. So
Yes,
there you are,
yes.
Miss or Mr. CB. You still apply and submit your attendance to AFTA as self-directed learning. And then there is a question here, I think referring to the CBSP CATS. Is it true for both public and private schools? The career progression that Dr. Navarro explained. Is there anyone who can shed light on this?
My opinion. May I give my opinion?
Ma'am, Dr. Brenda.
Yes. Because this was done in consultation with the Department of Education, with USEC Mateo as representative. I'm pretty sure whatever career progression scheme that PRC has crafted in coordination with the Department of Education and in consultation with all other agencies concerned will be true to all professional teachers in the Philippines.
Yes.
Opinion, okay?
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Corpus. I think we're running out of time, but this is a very important question, something that would challenge us. Is there already a new TOS for the LET 2022?
Please follow Dr. Paz Lucido. She is in.
Dr.
Okay.
Lucido?
Yeah.
Dr.
Lucido.
Paz.
I think the connectivity problem again.
May I, based on what I hear, the question is there already a new TOS for 2022? Is that the question?
For the first cohort of the new curriculum.
Okay. Definitely, there will be a revised table of specifications once the first batch of graduates of this new curriculum will take the licensure exams for teachers. I'm pretty sure the present board is reflecting and is planning on a lot of things regarding the development of the table of specifications aligned to the new curriculum.
And I think there will be a lot of consultation regarding this. Yes. Okay, so a lot of the comments here are all affirmation of how you have found our conference useful and helpful. We thank you for your affirming words. And also there is really a strong request for the PPTs of the speakers, because I think they are thinking of reviewing this before they answer the evaluation questions, because a lot are in and out in their connection, and sometimes they lose the sound, sometimes they get poor connection and all. I think I sense the feeling of the participants that they want the PowerPoint so that they can review and answer our assessment tasks well. So may we have an answer to this, because they are really looking. Some are already opening our website and looking for it there, thinking they can watch and see the PowerPoint as they are listening.
Dr. Lucas, may I answer? For the day one webinar, we already asked permission from Dr. Amor, Dr. Dayagbil, and Dr. Gonzalez. They will be given in PDF format.
Okay.
But for the other speakers, we have to get their permission before we post it in the website. For the day one, those 3 speakers already answered yes. For the others, we have to ask, and surely if they will say yes, we shall post this in the website.
Yes, and
they are looking at
if
our
I may
deadline
say,
of 14.
yeah, if I may say something, we cannot just ask them, our speakers today, because they seem not to be around at this time. So we can just ask, the organizers can just ask them later, perhaps. Thank you.
Okay. No more questions. The others we will have to post in the website. Back to you, Dr. Andas.
Okay, thank you for taking care of our questions, Dr. Lucas. And at this point, we would like to thank again our speakers for sharing their time and their updates in this convention. So we will now have the certificate of recognition And each of our presenters will be given a certificate of recognition duly signed by Dr. Brenda B. Corpus, President of PAFTE, Ms. Maria Rodora Santos, President of Amicus Koi Solutions, and Mr. Ronnie Martinez, President of Lorimar Publishing, all thanking them for their sharing in this convention today. So the certificates, here are the certificates of our presenters, and they will be flashed on the screen. Now we have the certificate of recognition for Ms. Rodora F. Ferrer. The certificate of recognition of Dr. Ron V. Mangera. Thank you, sir. Certificate of recognition for Dr. Benito E. Benosa from CIMEO, and for Dr. Porita B. Bilbao, and we have Dr. Rosita L. Navarro's certificate of recognition. For all of our speakers, we would like to thank them for their presentation, which are all substantial and very informative. At this point, we would like to have the recapitulation of everything that happened today, this afternoon, and we will hear the synopsis or the recapitulation from Dr. Ethel L. Abao, Member of the Board of Directors, PAFTE National. Dr. Ethel.
To the power team of PAFTE, headed by Dr. Brenda and my fellow PAFTEnians, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Education is dynamic. It is endless. It being a catalyzer of change, it deems to be responsive to the needs of time. Evidently, the COVID-19 pandemic has enormously shaken our plans, activities, and system in general. But PAFTE, a prime mover for quality teacher education, undauntedly pursues its mission to promote professionalism, dynamic leadership, and excellent standards despite the pandemic. Today, we have been richly blessed with varied and meaningful engagements. Spiritually, we started the day with a grace-filled prayer led by Dr. Nelia G. Prieto. Physically, we were then led to nourish our body by the wellness directress. As Dr. Anda said, the embodiment of beauty and wellness herself, Ms. Julie Lim Ang, with her beauty and wellness exercises. Indeed, a gratifying body conditioning activity. And very, very important phrase, be careful with what you look at, what you feel, do, and be careful with the people you talk with. The takeaway here is breathe. Intellectually comprehensible inputs were shared towards relevant and sustainable academic instruction as the ASEAN University Network expert in Singapore, Mr. Johnson Ong Chibin, shared his expertise on connecting the body, mind, heart, and soul in social emotional learning. Mr. Johnson Ong put premium on the social emotional learning as the heart of education. He also shared a beautiful input on how to meditate, relax, and be calm through a video. Indeed, very helpful. Thanks a lot, Mr. Ong Chibin. Apparently, the sessions have been exciting and beneficial, as observed in the interesting queries raised by the participants and responded as well by the respective speakers. Since PAFTE is an organization which aims to serve as partner of the Philippine government in promoting national development through pre-service and in-service teachers, it is its responsibility to bring forth updates from its partners. We started from the Executive Director of PEAC, Philippine Education Assistance Committee, Dr. Rodora Ferrer. She emphasized that the PEAC gives support to private education in the Philippines and to keep this sector sustainable. She mentioned about the different programs and other initiatives of PEAC, and she also puts premium that in PEAC they give focus on the most essential learning competencies. It was followed by the sharing of the Executive Director of the Teacher Education Council. We have Dr. Ranvi Mangera. He also presented to us the different aspects, especially in the deployment of student teachers during the new normal, understanding 21st century democracy, and then he also shared the positive discipline in everyday teaching, online training, as well as the upcoming activities through the tech virtual meeting. He ended with a sharing on the statement of David Navarro, which I also like very much. The virus is here to stay and it is not going away anytime soon. Hence, we live with it for economic, social progress despite the challenge. This was followed by the sharing of the chair of the technical panel for teacher education, Dr. Bilbao. With gratitude, Dr. Bilbao substantively shared with us essential guidelines and policies for our guidance. He shared the implementation of the new teacher education curriculum, the toddler, the joint CHED DepEd Memorandum on Deployment, CHED Memo 15 Series 2019 on the policy, standards, and guidelines for graduate programs, and the CMO 4 Series 2019 Guidelines on the Implementation of Flexible Learning. Thank you very much, Dr. Bilbao, for this informative and enriching information. And then we move forward to the sharing of Dr. Binoza, the manager of Semeo Inotech. Dr. Binoza actually shared with us that today they celebrate, this year, they celebrate the 50 years of innovation for the Southeast Asian learners. He also shared the Semeo 7 priorities, the C Teacher Competency Framework, and the a topic on becoming a teacher every day. And he also mentioned certain priorities like the Health Excels, the Lead Excels, the e-citizenship. Flexible solutions were also mentioned by Dr. Binoza. Indeed, we feel so elated by this very actually enabling information from him. And then moving forward to Dr. Navarro. Dr. Navarro, the chair of the Philippine Regulatory Commission, and she richly shared with us a lot of things for us to be well guided on. And she mentioned a lot of things, ASEAN Qualification Framework, the Philippine Qualification Framework, continuing professional development, career progression and specialization program, crediting accumulation and transfer system, international agreements. And then she also shared with us very enriching points here towards CPSP, the CATS program for professional teachers, proposed career progression, specialization societies, a way forward. Dr. Navarro, wow, this is actually very enduring, comprehensive, inspiring input. Thank you very, very much. I think I have gotten what they have shared, and so after Dr. Navarro's sharing, open forum followed. Interesting queries were raised, and they were appropriately and aptly responded by the speakers. So, to all our dear speakers, our sincerest gratitude. Ladies and gentlemen, the two-day PAFTE convention left us a message that as education continues despite any form of crisis, teachers and educators unceasingly commit to deliver quality and excellence in education. That is, making education relevant, resilient, and sustainable. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ethel, for your recap. Now we will now go to the speakers, and we have to thank them for their sharing this afternoon with Ms. Julie Lim Ang, Wellness Directress, Mr. Johnson Ong, ASEAN University Network Expert from Singapore, Dr. Rosita L. Navarro, Chair, Board for Professional Teachers, Dr. Ranvi V. Mangera, Executive Director of TEC, and Dr. Purita Bilbao, Technical Panel for Teacher Education Chair, and the Executive Director of Education, Private Education Assistance Committee, and from Dr. Benito Benosa, Manager of Simeo Inutec. Thank you very much. Now we have the evaluation and the requirement for CPD units. We have repeatedly said this, that you have to take note of the webinar and then the days, the number of days that you are going to prepare for them. Repeatedly, we gave that to you. And all that being said, we would like now to close this activity today with a closing prayer from Dr. Maria Elena C. Morales, Member, Board of Directors, PAFTE National Board. Dr. Morales.
Let's pray. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Loving Father, we thank you for the opportunity to gather and to share relevant ideas and thoughts with everyone, especially to all who support PAFTE in conducting this second annual webinar. We thank you for giving us the best resource persons who willingly shared their expertise and time. We thank you for all the participants who made this time to join us in this webinar. We thank you for sending us Lorimar Publishing Incorporated and Amicus Koi Solutions as our partners in conducting this event. We thank you for the PAFTE National Board and to all who made effort for this event to succeed. And we thank you, Lord, for keeping everyone healthy, happy, and safe during the two-day webinar. We offer you, Lord, our hopes to continue serving the TEIs and their teachers and students despite the challenging times. All this we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you very much, Dr. Morales, for that prayer. And now may I give you the Q&A committee who worked for our open forum. We have the members, Dr. Melchor S. Julianes, Treasurer, PAFTE National Board, Dr. Maria Gregoria P. Malihan, Auditor, PAFTE National Board, Dr. Cautin S. Culano, Board of Director, PAFTE National Board, Dr. Imelda E. Quartel, Assistant Treasurer for Associate Membership, Dr. Felina P. S. Pique, Member, Technical Panel, Technical Committee for PAFTE National, Dr. Maria Rita D. Lucas, Member, Technical Committee, PAFTE National, and Dr. Maria Elena C. Morales, Member of the Board of Directors for PAFTE National. Thank you for working with the questions, ladies and gentlemen. And for those who are again inquiring about membership, we have the infographic which tells us that you have to fill up a registration form and then you pay according to the mode of payment you choose, fill in the required documents, submit these documents for approval, and once approved, you can receive your EID and your official receipt. We are waiting for you to become members, and we have video on demand schedule. We have October 24, 2020, November 7, 2020, and November 14, 2020. And would like to thank you. This has been your moderator for today, Dr. Celia D. Andas, Vice President for Mindanao of the National Board. We are now going to close by singing the PAFTE National the PAFTE hymn, for us to know that the composer of this song was the late Dr. Julia Tabaco, former Vice President for Mindanao of PAFTE Region 9, and from Western Mindanao State University, Zamboanga City. We have the PAFTE hymn.
The PAFTE spirit spreads over Educators with this land, molders of the teaching land, hail above
It's sing us your fill of the woods of the land.
Go walk and march,
It's sing us your just with the of the land.